Let's look at Tuesday. There's 5 games on, but we can't ignore it. We've got to pay attention. We've got to stream guys in. We've got to win our fantasy playoffs. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I'm questioning, is St. Patrick even a real person? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball. No, actually not yet. I was going to tell you today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs, which helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That is linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms. So hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, ring the bell, and leave your comments down below. We're talking Tuesday, March 19th. There are only 5 games on. There were 6 on Monday. An extremely light start to the week. Next week, won't be exactly the same. This is the end of the streaming zone this week. Next week and the final 3 weeks become absolute disasters when we're talking about trying to find days where you can actually stream blokes in. Let's talk about the first game. It is Houston up against your Washington Wizards. They go both teams Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday this week, and then they both play 4 games next week, both Houston and Washington. Cam Whitmore's out, and then we got, just as I'm recording this, a slew of updates. Good word, on the Wizards. So, Denny Avdia is out. Kyle Kuzma is off the injury report. Bilal Coulibaly is out. Tyus Jones is out. Marvin Bagley is out. Eugene Omoruyi is out. We go to the updates. There you go. So, all of those question marks are out, apart from Kuzma, who is back. So, on the Rockets, what are we watching? I want to see Jabari Smith start to elevate. He's been better than last season for sure, but with Şengün out, I haven't seen this giant step forward. So let's keep watching that and see what we can work on and develop heading into next season, his third year. For the Rockets, with these guys out, does the sandwich, Patrick Baldwin Jr., get more run? Now, he started in place of Kuzma last game. Do they go back to Holmes starting with Kuzma, which that's what happened last time, Holmes and Kuzma, but there's no Bilal. So I guess Kispert and Poole would start as well. Who are the other starters here? No Denny? Do they go, what do they do? Poole, Kispert, Kuzma, Baldwin? Does Champagny start? There's a lot of openings. Baldwin would have had a really good fantasy game on Sunday. He just didn't hit any shots. He's got an interesting profile. Amen Thompson's clearly getting boosted in Houston. We've got some uncertainty with Landale and Green coming off the bench. Jeff Green. Amen's the guy we look at, but Landale does get somewhat of a boost, so does Jalen Green. And then Rashawn Holmes gets a boost in Washington, but it also could be Justin Champagny. It could also be Pat Baldwin, with all of those guys now sidelined. I would have loved, but it would have been better to see what happened with Baldwin with Kuzma out, because that to me is a very clear 1-for-1. Here's some value, but we didn't get that. Kuzma's back, Avdia's out, Coulibaly's out, Tyus is out. Should mean that we get Jared Butler minutes as a deep league backup point guard stream as well, so just be aware of that. The second game is the Hornets. They're going to take on the Orlando Magic. The Hornets only the 2 games we know, Tuesday, Saturday. So after Tuesday, you can drop most Hornets players. They do have 4 the following week, so whether you drop them or not this week is going to depend on how comfortable you are in winning the week. Do you have a bye one? It doesn't matter. But if you're in a tight battle, it's really hard to hold zeros for 5 days for guys who aren't that good anyway. The Magic go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday with 3 games in week 22. LaMelo Ball, I put the asterisk there just in case he was coming back. He's not. So he's out again. Seth Curry's out. Cody Martin's out. Bryce McGowan's has been ruled out. Of course, there's no update on what's actually wrong with him, but he is out. And John Isaac, who missed the last game with some knee issues, knee management, he's back and ready to go. For the Hornets, Grant Williams has been playing much better. Let's see whether Grant Williams is able to keep that up. He's not worth holding through this period of only 2 games, but when there's a game on like this, there is some interest in Williams. They're running this really shallow rotation. basically the same rotation they've been running most of the way through here, or the last week or so. So that does give it gives somewhat of a boost to what Grant's able to do. And there is an opportunity for him to be, I guess, useful. Suggs, I want to watch that because it's only 20 minutes. Last game was weird. Started the first and the third quarters and then came out after 10 minutes and never returned. Is that real? Is that what we're doing, Jamal? We'll find out. Who else is getting boosted? Well, Vesely Micic keeps getting boosted with no Seth, no Cody, and no LaMelo. So does Trey Mann, obviously. Well, Wendell Carter Jr. is just doing a little bit more most of the time. Not every game, but he's doing a little bit more most games, and that gives him somewhat of a boost. I don't feel super confident with Wendell Carter Jr., but he's in a better spot now than he has been really at any other point during the year. John Isaac's the other guy getting a boost. They're giving a little bit more playing time, reducing a bit of Mo Wagner's playing time as well, getting more Isaac at center minutes, and that is providing it close enough to 12-team stream value for Johnny Isaac. The next game is the Pelicans taking on the Brooklyn Nets. The Pelicans, one of the better schedules from Tuesday onwards. In fact, the only team that goes 4 games in 6 nights. They only have 3 games the following week, whereas the Nets go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then 4 games in week 22. Herb Jones is probable. He missed the last game. Larry Nance missed the last game with an illness, but he's back. And Dyson Daniels remains out. While for Brooklyn, they announced that Dorian Finney-Smith has got an ankle issue and he's going to be questionable. For the Pelicans, I want to watch Zion because Zion has been doing more point guard work, which has hurt CJ McCollum most games. He's also doing more center work, which is hurting Jonas Valanciunas. So this expansion of Zion's role is really interesting. What an interesting question. I've got the 2 guys I want to watch there, Zion and Mikal Bridges. There's not one person out there, me included, there's not one person out there who would have been thought we would have been sitting here on 19th of March for me and going, yeah, Zion's had a better season than Mikal Bridges for fantasy. It's true, but no one would have thought it. Like, there's not one person in draft season who would have predicted that. Even if I was down on Mikal and higher on Zion than most, which I was, nowhere near this. Zion's been better. He's been rolling at a pretty good rate at the moment. Trey Murphy continues to get this boost. They give him 30 a night. They give him more shots. It is a little bit DeAndre Hunter-ish, where it's dependent on the percentage, but still good numbers. And then Dennis Schroeder is getting a lot of minutes. He needs a lot of minutes, and he needs a lot of shot attempts to be a 12-team league guy, but they're giving it to him. For some reason, they prioritize him over Cam Thomas. And me, not a Cam Thomas guy, that's ridiculous. You should be giving it to Cam Thomas. So, yeah, we'll see what they continue to do with Schroeder. But, yeah, I don't really know what they're seeing in him, but they're seeing something. They're seeing something. Today's episode is brought to you by Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist that understands your style, your size, and your budget. And they do all the shopping for you. Who wants to go to the shops? You go to the shops, you go, I don't actually like these stores. What if I go to this place and there's this store that I like? And you go, yeah, and there's this store. Or what even stores do I want to go to? Well, you don't have to worry about it. With Stitch Fix, you tell them your style, size, and budget preferences. The professional stylist figures it out and goes, okay, I think this bloke is going to like these clothes. They put them together, 5 different items, put them in a box, send them out to you, and you open it up. It's like a light showing. It's like the halo in the and you go, man, look at this. I never thought that I'd be wearing something like this, but here you are. You put it on, you look good. They're not sending you stuff that makes you look like Susie from Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's the sort of style we're not talking about. We're talking about dapper. We're talking about sexy. And if you don't like it, shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. So, style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That is stitchfix.com/lockedon. stitchfix.com/lockedon. All right. 3 games down, 2 to go. Dallas, San Antonio, Dallas, another 2-game team. Their schedule is slightly better than Charlotte's with the Tuesday-Thursday combination, and then they have no games on for the rest of the week. So if you're in finals week, make sure your commish has disabled the can't cut list because you are dropping Luka Doncic and Kyrie after Thursday if you're in finals. And they have 4 the week after. The Spurs go Tuesday and then a Friday, Saturday back-to-back with 4 games the following week. Wembanyama playing a lot of minutes at the moment, which is very interesting. I think, again, when people were sitting in the draft, they're going, yeah, Victor, that's fine. He's going to be pretty good. But the Spurs will just shut him down at the end of the season. It's actually the opposite. He's getting better as the season goes on. At the moment, the only injury currently is Josh Green, who is out for the Mavs. Derek Lively was pretty good last game, and he's providing at least stream-level value coming off the bench behind Dan Gafford. But watching the Gafford, Lively, and even Kleber minutes split will be interesting. Kleber hasn't really played any center at all the last couple of games. The horse was great last game, Keldon Johnson, in terms of scoring and shooting numbers. He's not always like that, we know, and that's why he's always an iffy fantasy category guy, and with a weird schedule with only the Tuesday, Friday coming up, and then, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, but that 2-game gap, he's not a must-roster guy, but let's see. Maybe he changes my mind, because he got the bulk of the minutes over Champagny last game. Guys getting boosted. Derek Jones gets that boost with Josh Green out. That's only a deeper league option. Same with Dante Exum. And then Jeremy Sohan is getting a lot of minutes. That's useful a lot of the time, but he throws out a random stinker that you just never know when it's going to come. He might have 20 points with 3 blocks or 4 points on 10% shooting. And he's been better in terms of doing more good than bad, but I'm still not really at a point where I'm 100% trusting him. The last game of the day is not a very late one. In fact, what time is it? I think it's a 9 p.m. Eastern game. It's Denver at Minnesota, what should be a really good game, unfortunately, that Minnesota's got the second game of back-to-back, plus a bunch of guys out. Denver goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday with 4 in Week 22, and then Minnesota goes Tuesday, Friday, Sunday with only 3 in Week 22. Zeke Naji popped up for the Nuggets as questionable with a back issue. And then we've got the Wolves who do play on Monday. We don't know the status of Rudy Gobert, Kyle Anderson, or hamstring legend Monte Morris. I would expect that it's a back-to-back that Morris sits one of them. I'd say Gobert is more likely to sit than Anderson is, but I don't know. I mean, Gobert is more likely to sit Monday than Anderson is, and I think Gobert and Anderson will both play on Tuesday. Morris, I think, probably sits Monday, plays Tuesday against his former team, but I don't know. For the Nuggets, I want to watch Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I don't know why. Because there's really nothing exciting happening on this Nuggets team fantasy-wise. But KCP continues to be not a 12-team points league player, especially not with 3 games. And honestly, not a category league guy unless you're desperate for the steals category. For the Wolves, they're on a back-to-back. But who's getting boosted? Well, we are getting a lot of Michael Ponder Jr. at the moment for Denver. Last game, he was immense. Huge defensive numbers. His scoring's up. Now, he can always go in these really weird, funky slumps. But they've also sort of been reduced a little bit lately. For the Wolves, Kyle Anderson and Nas Reed get the big boost. Nas gets a gigantic boost if Gobert is out as well. If Anderson is out, well, you're going to get a lot more for Nickeil Alexander-Walker because Jaden McDaniels will step up, he'll play at power forward, and he'll probably shoot 20% and have 4 points with 3 rebounds. But he will play up at a different position, meaning there's more minutes for Alexander-Walker to play at the 3, which then would turn him into a stream guy, old mate Nickeil, assuming that that's what they do, and I don't think we have any reason to expect that they won't do that. So, there are no back-to-backs Tuesday to Wednesday. So we can't look at that. But what we can look at is a 4-game split. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Who've got the games? It's the Pelicans, that's it. So when we look at Larry Nance, when we look at our desire to maybe move on from Valanciunas or McCollum, there is a nice little bunch of games here for them. When we look at Herb Jones or Trey Murphy, or deeper leagues, Jose Alvarado or Najee Marshall, there's a really strong stretch here for the Pelicans. And contrast that to 1 game for the Hornets, the Hawks, Bulls, Lakers, and Knicks. So we're always looking for +2s in the playoffs, yeah. Now, again, nearly all of the major Pelicans guys are rostered, but a Najee, Jose, Larry Nance group, 3 games out of those is obviously better than 1 game at a Vic Krejci. Is it better than 1 game at a Grant Williams? Debatable. Is it better than 1 game of Trey Mann? Probably. 1 game of Andre Drummond? Yes. 1 game of Rui Hachimura? Probably yes. 1 game of Josh Hart? Precious Achiuwa? Probably no. That's where it gets tough. It is a weird week for streaming, as we've said all along. A weird start to the week. Anyway. But we do look for the next 5 days. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There are 13 teams that play 3 games. That's pretty normal, 3 games in 5 days. The Lakers play 1. That's really bad. So if you were considering, hey, Davis might be out, I'll add Jackson Hayes. Nah, don't do it because look, they don't play. Hachimura, Dinwiddie. Yeah, you probably do hold Reeves and Russell, but again, you got a lot of options you can stream in. And 1 team who's just in a stinking hole of games after Monday. 1 game in 5 nights, Tuesday through Saturday for the LA Lakers. Today's episode is also brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you are hiring for a small business, you want to get the right people for the right job. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, making it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals that you can't find anywhere else. It does all that while making that process easy and intuitive. Hiring is so easy, in fact, that small businesses report that in 24 hours, they get a qualified candidate 86% of the time. You might be in a situation where you're hiring and people come through and drop off their resumes or apply to you. Bro, you're not even close to this job. What are you talking about? It's a waste of your time. LinkedIn gets the right people in front of you so you can make the decision cutting down that time that you waste on things that are useless. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That is linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, let's finish off some schedule talk here. For the next 6 days, that is the rest of this week, Tuesday through to Sunday, the Pelicans are the only team with 4 games in 6 nights. And there are 7 teams with 2 games. Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, Dallas, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, the Knicks. So after Monday, when we're looking at this, getting a fringe Pelican in, you get 2 games the rest of the week, or 2 plus 2 games, sorry. 4 versus 2 for your fringe Hawks. That probably doesn't include, what it might include, because Okongwu might be back. Does it include Capella? Obviously Bruno Fernando. It's not Jalen, it's not DeJounte, but Bogdan? Hunter? Double the games is tough to overcome. For any Grant Williams, Micic, Mann, Nick Richards, double the games is hard to overcome. So always consider that. The players might not be good, but 80 minutes of Jose Alvarado versus 60 of Bogdanovic, or 60 of Grant Williams, or 50 of Jake LaRavia, usually the bulk wins out. If we go to 7 days, there are 17 teams that play 4 games in 7 days. That's Tuesday through to Monday. The Lakers play 2. This leads into week 22, so that's going to be more dependent on what your schedule like, or you got to buy or whatever. No, I don't know if you got to buy. But if you're going to win comfortably, you can get a +2 over the Lakers there. And then we go to 8 days. That's Tuesday through to Tuesday. The Pelicans and the Kings have 5 games in 8 nights. And then there are 8 teams who've got 3 games in 8 nights. Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, the Lakers, Grizzlies, Wolves, Knicks, and Magic. There's not gigantic advantages to be gained at the moment. It's just a lot of Pelicans talk. That's not a big advantage with some of those guys not available. So just be really cautious about how you use your ads. Get the most out of it, but get the right players in at the right time as well, especially when you're dealing with limited ads. If we go back to Tuesday, let's have a look at some Yahoo points streaming options. Amen Thompson, Trey Mann, Jalen Suggs, Vasily Micic, Dylan Brooks, and Rashawn Holmes. Look at pretty good options, I think, there. For your ESPN points, a lot of the same names. We're talking Amen Thompson, of course, Trey Mann, Suggsy, Micic, Dylan Brooks, and Corey Kispert getting that bump with all those Wizards guys currently out. For category leagues, for the points category, Kispert comes out again. Now, he's pretty hit or miss, but what he does is score and hit threes. So I've got him there as both a points and threes streamer. Dylan Brooks is a points option. He's getting a few more shots with Şengün out. Now, we know how rough that can be, but there's a little bit more volume going his way. And then for threes, it's Davis Bertans. Now, we know he's had 2 absolute stinking games. Last game, he was back on track, but his minutes are strong. And that's a huge, huge positive. Get 26, 27 minutes out of Bertans, you might get 3 triples. We should anyway, unless he turns in one of those historic stinking nights. For big man stats, we've got a rebounds. We've got a Amen Thompson. Yes, he's not a big man, but he gets rebounds. And Rashawn Holmes, another good rebounder. And for blocks, well, Amen Thompson's there again. And then Johnny Isaac, who's, again, starting to play more minutes and a more prominent role for the Magic. For guards, the 2 Charlotte guys, the guys I'm looking at for assists, that's Micic and Trey Mann. Pretty no-brainerish stuff. While for steals, Trey Mann's been getting quite a few of them for Charlotte. And then we go to Jalen Suggs in Orlando as well. And for percentages to finish things off, Derek Lively for field goal percentage along with Rashawn Holmes, both Mavericks legends. And then free throws, we go to Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And then if you get really desperate, you can go to Malaka Branham in San Antonio, who is a good free throw shooter. He just doesn't do anything else. That is a quick look ahead to Tuesday's action with the 5 games on across the NBA. Don't forget to go and give a thumb. We'll be back later on today to wrap up all of Monday's 6-game action. So subscribe to the channel and thumb it up, ring your bell, and we'll see you back here. Guys, we're done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.